Alrighty, we have Miss Cara Koh. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
I didn't know if I said that correctly because I don't know, because everyone said Cara at first. Like, so this one coach that at 45 that I worked at, his name was Ricky, and he was like, bro, it's Cara. Like, I was like, okay. And I called you Cara for at least 3 weeks, and you didn't say anything.
I never correct people, honestly. It doesn't bother me.
Why does it bother you? It's not your name.
I don't know. I feel like rude being like, by the way, it's Cara.
I mean, you don't have to do all sassy like that. You can just like, oh, like it's Cara.
I really should. It was more surprising because when I was in Texas and I like met new people, no one ever said Cara. It wasn't until I came out to LA.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's an LA thing?
I think so.
How different is Austin than LA?
I've
never been to Austin, but I heard great things.
It's amazing. If I ever moved back to Texas, I would absolutely live in Austin.
Austin? It's very city-like. That's what I've heard, right?
It is. And when I was there for college, I always heard, like, Austin is, like, the smaller LA.
Okay.
And it kind of was. I mean, it's very different in a lot of ways, but I guess it's more in comparison to Texas. It's like the LA of Texas, for sure.
What's your favorite part of Austin?
Oh my goodness. Oh, the food.
The food? I heard it's great. The barbecue especially.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. The food's great. And then just it's different too in terms of like nature than the rest of Texas, I feel. Because Texas is very flat, of course. And I'm from the Dallas area, very flat. But Austin is like hill country and it's beautiful. Oh,
are you a flat earther because you live in Dallas?
What's that?
Are you a flat earther because you live in Dallas?
Flat earther.
Have you heard of that?
No.
You don't know what a flat earther is?
No.
Flat earther is the people who believe that the earth is flat.
Oh.
And it's not like round. And a lot of people who grew up in like very flat areas, they're like, yo, the earth isn't round. They're all lying to you.
I do firmly believe that the earth is round.
Oh, okay. So you're not a flat earther. It's like a very culty. There's like a lot of good things. It's like Bikram yoga and flat earthers.
That's so funny. I could see how people would think that growing up in Texas because, well, even when I moved out here, like it's still when I'm driving on the highway and I see like mountains in the distance, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Because there's like nothing.
Is there no hikes in Texas?
Not like Austin.
Really?
It's like the only place I know with hikes.
That's crazy.
Like, I haven't hiked anywhere else in Texas except for Austin.
So you didn't grow up like hiking? Because like I grew up in Fresno, California. It's a couple hours north of here, and like I was in Boy Scouts. We'd go hiking all the time, camping, and it was just like a normal thing. Yeah. And then listening to some people who are like came from Florida, Texas out here, I'm just like they were like, oh my god. Like we were driving to Malibu the other day, I mean a few friends, and they were just like, dang, I didn't know like these mountains like existed like this. I was like, bro, this is normal. Like,
yeah, it's so like this is, I guess I'm going on like 3 years of being here now, and still when I'm driving, I'm like, wow.
Do you like
so
LA?
Cool. I do.
Okay.
I do.
What do you like about LA now?
Oh man, honestly, like the energy. I find when I go back to Texas, I love going home, and I go home often because I love seeing my family
over there. Okay.
My family's they're back in Arlington, and that's why I love going back to Texas. But I find when I'm there a little bit long, I start to get like kind of anxious. But I think it's more just because like my career is out here, and I'm always just like
on the go,
and so when I'm out there, I feel like I'm like slowing down, which is good sometimes, but. Yeah, the energy is great out here.
Yeah, I didn't realize why I was still out here. Like, someone asked me that question, or like, why LA? And like, because I could basically do whatever I'm doing right now anywhere. And I was like, people don't make fun, or like, at least when I go home, I'll throw out my phone, record myself like working out for like the gram or whatever, for like just to promote like personal training. And at home, my boys will be like, what are you doing? Like, it's just like filming yourself isn't a thing back at home, you know? Really? Out here, everything's normal. Like you hustling out here, doing like a ton of side gigs, that's normal. Like back at home, all my friends, or not all, a lot of my friends are getting married and having kids.
Same.
Out here, no way. Like everyone's on their hustle, doing their thing. And I didn't realize it, but I was like, I think that's why I love LA, because there's so many similar minded people who are always like hustling and doing like the things that like I enjoy. Yeah. You agree?
I totally agree. And I'm very much attracted to people that are like also driven and pursuing their goals and their dreams. Yeah. Because like, why not?
Yes.
And that's what LA is. And same with New York. I used to live in New York. And
you used to live in New York?
I did.
How was that?
I loved it. It was so different than LA.
Yeah.
And like, things
cement
that
and jungle over there.
Yeah, which that still is a struggle for me, even being here, like everything kind of being on top of
Each other.
Yeah. Because growing up in Texas, everything's so spread out.
Yeah.
And I do prefer
That's a night and day
I would
difference,
say.
for
Yeah,
sure.
like I do prefer that, which is why I like living up here, because it's a little more spread out. But
It's a little bit both. Yeah, it's like the middle ground.
exactly. But yeah, New York's energy, that's probably my favorite energy, even more than here.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
How so? What's the energy difference? Like,
It's like
is it more of a hustle culture than I hear?
I think so.
Yeah.
I call it like it's like an open door city, because everyone's commuting on foot everywhere, and so the energy is just in the streets. It's on the sidewalks.
You don't see a lot of fat people in New York.
No. I was just talking to someone about that the other day. You really don't, and I didn't even notice that until I went back to Texas too, because I was like,
Yeah, there's a lot of like overweight people in like chill areas that you drive to. Like
Yeah.
all
Oh
the
my gosh.
cities that like you're walking around a lot. It's like not,
yeah. It was great exercise. I mean, it was a struggle sometimes, especially like in the winter when it would be snowy, which I was not used to snow growing up, of course. Or like the summers get really, really hot in New York. So like that was a struggle. And also my days were like really long. I'd wake up really early to get to auditions, and then I would work like nights. So I was like a pack mule carrying like all my stuff for the day.
Oh, wow.
So that is one thing I like about LA. You can just like throw everything in your car, which is
and
nice.
you still have it there wherever you go.
But in New York, like I'm
Did you go to New York for like acting and stuff too?
But for like musical theater. So,
Okay.
like stage
Like
stuff.
Broadway.
So that's my background. Like that's what I grew up in.
So
like,
are
musical
you-
theater stage.
So can you like sing and stuff too?
Yeah, I
That's
sing.
awesome.
I grew up like singing and stuff. I
Love
it.
What transfer or what was the mind shift of like, oh, I'm gonna do stage stuff, Broadway to like television, like acting and stunts? Like, where did that come from?
Like a few things, business wise, and like career wise, TV and film, like there's more money in it. And so like that was one thing. But the other thing that I really love about TV and film on the acting side of things is, you can be so like natural and so small. Like you can do the smallest little things with your face, your voice, and the camera picks it up.
Yeah.
Whereas on stage, it's
it's
bigger.
hard to you
Yeah.
have to like exaggerate certain things to make the audience understand and feel those emotions, correct?
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
like if it's so intimate up close camera, like you could see the little detail and you don't need to like exaggerate those things.
Right. No, exactly.
Okay.
And I love both. Like I miss doing musicals so much. Like
What was the day that you were like, I'm kind of over this, like I want to transfer to the other side?
I don't necessarily think it was ever like a day that I was like, I'm going to make like the definitive switch. Because I started doing like TV film classes in like junior high in like the Dallas community.
Okay.
So I started integrating it in pretty early, and I actually didn't even start theater until high school because I was
really?
very shy growing up, like so shy.
Really? That's hard to believe.
Yes.
That's
oh
cool.
my gosh, like so shy. Like I used to, it's like so embarrassing. As a child, I used to like stand with like my like fist like in my mouth when I would get like really, really shy. And there's
Really?
like pictures. So yeah, once I joined theater like sophomore year of high school is when I really started to come out of my shell.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my introduction into like theater side of things. But I guess I did start like TV and film training before
Pretty
that,
young.
which I'm like just realizing. But yeah, I guess I always kind of knew I wanted to do both. And then as I got older,
Have you always wanted to do something in entertainment? Like when you were like 5 years old, you're like, I want to be on TV, or like
No, actually.
Okay.
Because I was so shy, like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I did like sports as like a small child, and then I started doing dance, and that was like my main thing. I did like competitive dance and stuff.
Okay. What type of dance?
Like all kinds, we had to do like jazz, tap, ballet, lyrical,
Okay.
modern.
So you're
playing.
classically trained a little bit. Okay.
Yes, and I loved it. It was so much fun. Competitive dance was awesome. But yeah, I guess.
So we're like, because it sounds like you were just doing a lot of stuff in terms
Yeah.
of like singing, in terms of theater, in terms of like sports, all
Yeah.
this stuff, and you're like, I got all these, like I'm well rounded enough to do these things, like especially for like movies and everything like that. Yeah.
And I actually, it used to feel like a hindrance when I was younger because I was like, oh, like I do all these different things
Yeah.
and it makes me not as good
At,
instead
like,
if
that
I
one
just
thing.
did one thing.
Yeah.
But like now,
Yeah, in the
really-
industry, if you're good at a lot of things, it's honestly,
great.
it's super important.
It is.
You know?
It is. So now, like looking back, I'm happy that I have like a well-rounded like life experience.
Yeah.
And then when I like moved into college, I did like pom squad. So I did
What's
like
pom
some
squad?
like cheerleading.
Okay.
So we didn't tumble.
You cheered for UT? Mm-hmm. Oh, no way.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Oh, it was so much fun. It was.
I
We
bet
were
the
like the
football games were
dancey
crazy.
side. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the energy of like being on a football field, like cheering those games. I miss it so much.
That's
we were
awesome.
like, it was like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders style of dance for,
Oh, that's cool.
for that. So that was really fun too. And yeah, I'm trying to think like I knew I always wanted to experience New York. And I had already lived in LA my last semester of college because I did the UTLA program out here, which was like business side of the film industry, which was really interesting.
I feel like that's important because I feel a lot of people get screwed over on the business side. They don't understand it, right?
Definitely can. And it's been so beneficial, like knowing and understanding that side because I interned at a management company and at a casting office. And so seeing that side of things, like it makes it like easier and harder at the same time being on the acting side because you just like understand how it all works.
Yeah.
So it's like better and worse in some ways.
Yeah, no,
but
feel that.
I'm appreciative for it.
That you understand everything.
Absolutely.
What do you call it? Back to theater in high school. So like, I don't know, when I was in high school and I had a few friends in theater and like, was theater like seen as like nerdy in high school or like geeky? Because like, that's like, my sister went to like a performing arts like high school too. And theater singing was a huge thing and it was like normal at that school. But like at my high school, like it was just like not seen as a popular thing or a cool thing, and a lot of people made fun of it. And I don't know, was that the same thing for you over there, or was it like, oh, theater's the shit? It was Glee.
It was like a bit of both.
Okay.
Like I was a complete weirdo, like absolutely so like nerdy and weird, but I had so much fun. But I went to a public high school, but our fine arts, we were really good. Like we were like known for our fine arts program being like a public school.
Yeah.
So I think it was like people appreciated like what we did that like weren't in the theater department.
Okay.
So it wasn't as much of like a nerdy thing, but like we were definitely weirdos.
Oh, okay.
Which I
No,
love.
that's cool. It's funny that like a lot of people who are like, I guess like quote unquote weird, like growing up, who are into certain like things like like theater or like, I don't know, weird niche sports and stuff like that are like way cooler like in their mid-20s after like all the bullshit of like society tells you certain things.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it really is so true. And like, I don't know. I just always knew I was not that cool kid. And so I just like didn't care.
Yeah, no,
and
for sure.
It just is like, I feel like life is better. Like
Oh, it's so much better. Yeah, I grew up and I used to, I think in between 4th and 8th grade, I would always just sit and like play my guitar with a few friends at like recess or like whatever, and people would always give a shit instead of just hanging out. And then like playing guitar is cool now. Like so many people are like into it.
Yeah.
Same thing with like
it's like with like anime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so trendy now.
It's so trendy now, but like I don't know. Rewind 10 years ago, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're into Naruto, blah blah. You're into Avatar," and nowadays they're like, "Oh shit, Avatar's the shit."
It's
like,
so interesting.
They're all wearing Avatar shirts.
I never watched anime growing up, but I loved drawing anime, which is very interesting. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was really into art growing up. At one time I was going to be an art major. And
What type of art?
Like drawing.
Okay.
I just loved drawing.
Well, what
so much.
what is so romantic about drawing? Why do you love drawing?
I don't know, actually. It just
Is
always
it-
felt like comfortable and relaxing, and like the whole process of like starting from nothing and like
Creating something.
and revising and like seeing from where it started and like and feeling like a little like stressed and insecure kind of at the start of my art, and then like seeing it grow and develop, and then there's like a shift that would happen like in the middle of like making a piece that you start to like really see it start to like come together, and it was like very like satisfying. Like,
No, that's beautiful. No, I feel like creating something, if it's writing, you have an empty page to a full like story, to like a blank canvas, to like a full piece of art. There's some like beauty and like romance behind that. What does art do for you in the sense of like how do you feel, or like there has to be some, is it like meditative? You heard of like flow states, you know,
right?
That like, I don't know, you're just working for hours and it feels like 10 minutes and then you have a piece.
I'm definitely like that in like all areas of my life, even outside of art, like with my like stunt training and stuff like that. So I have like a very obsessive personality, like I'm like one track mind. Like when I set my mind on like something, an idea that I want, I'm just like, I can't think about anything else until then.
How did you get into stunt training?
So that was so random. I've always loved action. Like growing up, like I remember like the Mission Impossible movies for some reason are like one of the main ones that like sticks out in my head as far as action goes.
Isn't it cool that Tom Cruise does all his stunts by himself?
I know, it's really cool. It's really cool. And, like that's my goal. Like that's what I would love to do, like in my acting career. But the way I found stunts was, working at Disneyland. Actually, the guy who played my Beast. Was like,
Cara is
Belle.
The Belle in Disneyland. So if you guys go to Disneyland, just find Belle. She'll sign your little book.
Absolutely. I also do Elsa from Frozen. So if you see either one of those.
Do you have to put a wig on?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, all of the characters in the entire park are wigged for like everything.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Just because of continuity. Like from person to person, and it makes it so much easier. I can go to work with like my hair looking a mess and then just put a wig on.
So back to stunt training.
Yeah, so
you met someone at Disneyland?
My Beast, he was like,
Beast.
Yeah, my Beast.
I love that.
He was like, I train stunts with this program called XMA, Extreme Martial Arts, with Mike Chat. He's like a former Power Ranger. Like, you should come check it out. And I was like, yeah, like I've always been interested in that. And it's interesting because a lot of stunt people, they were dancers growing up, or like martial artists, of course, or gymnasts, or like anything, having to do with like active and body awareness and stuff. A lot of people transition from that. And so it made it a smoother transition for me being a dancer and going into it. So I started taking like class there, and it was great because XMA was more like, it was like stunts for like actors, which was like perfect for me. Yeah. Because it was, actors that want to be able to look the part of a superhero.
Sure.
Or, an action hero. Yeah. And have the
So how long ago was technique.
That? I guess it was, let's see, okay, moved here in 2018. I think I started like June 2019.
So it's recent. It's like 2 years ago.
It's pretty recent. And so I was really happy and grateful that I was able to get that stunt
You're pretty good for only doing it for 2 years. I'm impressed.
Thanks. Oh gosh, I am like basic level.
Yeah, no, the only reason why I say that is because I took a stunt class at UCLA as an elective.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I've seen your stuff, and if you don't understand like stunt work, or if you like know the motions of martial arts and stuff, it's totally different in the sense that, you could correct me if I'm wrong, like throwing a punch or throwing a sword or whatever, there's certain times to make it look like you're actually throwing it. Yeah. The technique is like, instead of a pushing motion, it's a pulling motion. Yeah. Or like, instead of putting pressure, it's like relieving pressure.
Right.
When like it's supposed to look like you're like swinging hard, it's actually the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And when I was taking that class, I'd taken martial arts growing up, like Shotokan, karate, jiu-jitsu, like a ton of stuff. Stunt work is similar, but it's completely opposite in the form and technique, because to make it look real without actually like applying all those pressures in certain points and actually
the force and like you're not actually trying to break their arm.
To make it look like it, it's a totally different art form.
Right.
And I've done like a few just like scenes and stuff with people over there, and it's so much harder. It just made me like grab an appreciation for it. Like you see fight scenes, like I was super big like Fast and Furious person, Mission Impossible, like all that stuff. Like all this action work is way harder than it looks. Like you just see fight scenes, and like if you look at John Wick, like
oh my gosh,
like
so good.
Insane. And just looking at your stuff, it's like very cool, just like the last 2 years to like learn all that stuff, because you didn't have a martial arts background, right?
No, I didn't. Like the only thing I'd ever done was like kickboxing classes. But having the body awareness of growing up as a dancer, I'm able to like pick up on correction quickly, choreography quickly, which are all so, you know, crucial in the stunt world, especially as far as like fights go and whatnot. But yeah, I was so happy to be able to get like a good chunk of training in and networking in the industry before COVID hit, because now it's so different. And it's like the hiring in the stunt side of the industry is so different than the acting side, because
say that again. The hiring side is so different than the
on the stunt side than the acting side of the
how
industry.
So
like on the acting side, you get an audition from your agent, manager, or you know, yourself. Go in to the casting director, and then depending on like who the casting director likes, they'll show that to the producers or the team or whatever, and then decisions are made. And on the stunt side, it's just your connections with the coordinators. And so they'll call you and be like, hey, are you available this day? Like, you know, connections that you have, they know your abilities. Yeah, I'm available. And then they
just because they know what you're capable of. And it's not necessarily like you acting, it's just like how good you are at your craft for stunt work.
It depends. Sometimes it is I mean, it's always acting, right?
Yeah, sure.
But sometimes it's more like actual acting. And I find that even more now post-COVID, because you know, productions are trying to minimize the amount of people on set and save money. And so if they can have an actor that can also do stunt work, do this role, then they'll do that rather than having an actor and then double them in the stunt role. Which I love, because I'm like, that is why I stepped into this, because I'm an actress that also does stunt work. You know? So it's awesome.
Have you been a double before?
I have been a double. I double.
Can you explain what a double is first?
Yes.
So just in case.
So like a stunt double, they're doubling the actress or actor in like a stunt for the show in a scene that the actor or actress cannot do themselves, or maybe it's too dangerous or whatever. So the stunt person comes in and does that stunt. And so I doubled on the Disney Channel show Coop and Cami. I doubled Olivia Sanabia. She's so sweet. I love her so much.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I doubled in 2 episodes of that. And then I had one other doubling job that I can't talk about yet. It was the most recent thing I worked on.
That's awesome.
But yeah, other than that, it's just been like me doing stunt work or like a stunt acting role. Like, it was interesting. The very first stunt-ish job I got was on Lucifer. But it actually ended up being an acting role, but I got it through stunts. So the other thing in the stunt world...
That was awesome. I was just looking you up real quick, just like your IMDb, because I was like, I need to know a little bit about this chick. And I love Lucifer. And I looked at the scene because I've watched that episode like 2 or 3 times. And I didn't know it was you, obviously. I didn't know you at the time, obviously. And then I looked back at it and I was like, it kind of doesn't look like you either, because your hair's like slicked back and everything. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, have you watched the show before you were on it?
I hadn't watched it before. And so before I had the audition, I was like, okay, I need to watch some episodes, just like get a feel for the show. And so I watched a little bit. I was like, oh, this is great. But yeah, that one was like a very interesting situation, because the other thing that you do in the stunt industry that's not as happening now because of COVID is called stunt hustling. And like, that's how you meet stunt hustling. And that's how you meet coordinators.
Can you explain what stunt hustling is?
Absolutely. You basically like show up on set to like meet the coordinator.
Oh, you just show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
how do you know they're going to talk to you?
It is, I think it's terrifying.
No, it sounds like I mean, the way that I can see that happening is like some really shy dude going up to the hottest chick at a bar and asking like for her number or something. That sounds like that situation right there.
That's what it feels like. It's like, for me, who's like a very like, I want to like play by the rules, do the right things. Like, to me, like, it's terrifying. But it's I guess it would be considered old school kind of.
No,
like, it's like the older coordinators like coordinators expect it. Like, they expect it. But you have to be smart and you have to be respectful, because you're showing up somewhere that you're not supposed to be. But you know, basically when the coordinator has time, they'll step off and like talk to you, or they'll be like, yeah, like put your headshot and resume like over on my car over here or whatever. But for Lucifer, I was able to talk to the coordinator. He was nice enough.
So you just showed up?
Yeah, I just showed up. Okay. Like, a friend of mine told me like about the the shoot that was happening somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I drove down there. It was like down at the beach or something like that.
Yeah.
And the coordinator was nice enough to step away and have a conversation with me. First time I met him, and he was like, actually, he's like, they're actually looking for a girl right now that can act, that just needs some stunt ability. Like, I'll refer you to casting, and like they'll be in touch. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
and that's how you got that gig?
Yeah.
That's
then,
awesome.
Like,
I love that.
casting reached out, and they're like, yeah, can you come in tomorrow? It was like the audition was on the Warner Brothers lot. I was like, absolutely, I'll be there.
That's so cool.
And yeah, auditioned and then got it. And it was interesting because it wasn't even a stunt contract. It was an acting contract.
Yeah. There was no stunt work in it, right?
No, like I was just tied to a chair, as you saw. And so
Yeah.
I guess they just wanted someone that had the body awareness to like safely be tied to a chair and not like hurt themselves or, I don't know.
That's cool. No, I'm a big fan of, what's the main actor's name?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know on the spot.
I'm horrible with names. But
whatever, it's okay.
Tom Ellis? Is
Yeah,
that it?
I think so.
Yeah.
You could be wrong. You have to look that up.
I'm the worst with names.
We'll just call him Tom Ellis. I'm a big fan of Tom Ellis. He had this one show that he played like a doctor. And it was like a black market doctor. It's like, say you get shot, right, in a gang, and like you can't take the person to the hospital, and he would be the person to call, and it'd be like 10 to 15K for like 10 minutes like each time. It was a super good show. That's and then it got shut down, but I was like, yeah, big fan.
Oh my gosh, he was so nice. Everyone on set was so nice. And I was like so excited because it was like a 2-day shoot.
Yeah.
And the first day it was just me and my killer. And so that was
Carrie's got beasts and killers out here.
Better
watch out.
A very interesting life. The first day was shooting that, so it was awesome getting to experience like that energy on set with just like us two, and it was like a little more relaxed because like the head actors like weren't there, so it was like just a different environment on set, so that was cool. And then the next day we shot, I was already dead, and so I'm just like sitting there looking dead, which is a lot harder than you would think.
Okay. So how do you, because I always wondered, because like to stay still and not look like you're breathing,
it was the first time I like actually had to do it.
It looks really hard. I mean, it doesn't
like kind of was.
Yeah,
I was just like very like aware of everything that was happening in my body, as far as movement was going. Like I was like trying to have like shallow breaths so that my chest wasn't like moving up and down, but of course I'm like so excited just to like be here, and like all the lead actors are here, my eyes are closed, I'm like, they're looking at me.
This is so cool.
And so my heart's like,
was it a surreal moment? Because that's a huge show. Lucifer's a very big show.
It was very surreal. It was like it didn't even like settle in until after. I was just like. And the other thing that was so cool and that I was so grateful for with this project was I was able to go to the table read, which
that's awesome.
Doesn't like normally happen with, because like I was just a co-star like role. Like I don't know if that normally happens.
I don't know.
They usually do that or not, because it was the first table read I'd ever been to. But like walking into the room and like sitting down at the table with like all like the actors in the show and like getting to like read through the scene. Like I'd only seen that in like behind the scenes videos of like Game of Thrones or something like that. I watched that recently, but like
very good show, by the way.
Oh my gosh, yes, we won't talk about the last season, but but yeah, that was another thing that was like so surreal about it. Like the whole thing, I was just so incredibly grateful for it. So it was like,
do you get like starstruck still or anymore? Because like I don't know about you, like coming to LA after like the first couple years, like seeing famous people is just like I mean like it's a cool thing at first, then it happens all the time.
That's how I am. I've never really been like starstruck by people, and I think it's just because I'm like, well, they're just another actor, like they do what I do.
Honestly, they're just like another human being. And like I feel like it's a super big turn off if like someone like relatively big is just like, oh my god, like I'm a huge fan, like it's so nice to meet you.
I know. I'm always like, ugh, kind of cringy.
A little bit, right? For sure.
Bit. But like you do you. Like I get being excited, and I think the only reason like I don't is because it's like it's what I do. But there are certain people that I would be like, oh my gosh, that I would like.
What's one of them?
Oh my god.
Like if someone walked through the door right now, like, and it was like who, you would just be like speechless. You just like, who would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Like someone who you look up to in the movie industry.
Well, okay, my current obsession right now, as I'm sure lots of people's obsessions are, is like Tom Hiddleston.
Which one's that?
So he's Loki.
Okay.
In the show.
Really?
But he's an incredible actor.
Okay.
I just finished the show last night, The Night Manager, which I would highly recommend.
Okay, I'll watch it.
So
The Night
good.
Manager?
The Night Manager.
What's it on?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay, I have it on Amazon Prime.
It came out in like 2016, but I just discovered it. He's just like an incredible actor, but I also just like love Marvel, and so like he's probably my current obsession.
Okay. Is he on that show?
In which one?
The Night Manager?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like the main guy.
A gem that I found on Amazon Prime like about a year ago was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you watched that?
I've watched like a few episodes of the first season.
Okay. I don't know. I've really fucked with it.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to revisit it. I need to start it over.
Check it out. What do you call it? So do you watch a lot of TV?
I do.
Okay, because I feel like if you're in the movie industry, you have to be educated on movies and you have to watch a lot of movies, right?
You do, yeah.
I like to think so. And like there's this one quote, I forget who said it. To entertain, you have to be entertained.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I love acting. Like I remember like growing up going to the movies, like walking out of the theater feeling like I would like feel like the main character like walking out of the theater.
Yeah.
And that was so like do you know, are you on TikTok? Do you know that guy Brody on TikTok?
Yes. I'm not on it a lot because like it could be very.
It sucks all my time.
Yeah,
like, I try not to get on.
Like even on Instagram, it sucks a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So like I delete the app and then like when I'm like ready, I'll go on.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Sorry, continue, Brody. Yeah, Brody.
To.
Yeah,
he's doing he has so many funny videos, but like he keeps doing these like it's like a trend. He's doing Twilight, and it's like learning how to be the main character, and he's like kind of imitates Kristen Stewart. It's like funny, but it's like very real. Like I just remember growing up, like walking out of the movies, I would be so inspired. Like when I would walk out of movies and like.
Inspired in what way? Like inspired in like, oh, that's so cool, I want to do that, or inspired in like that story was so encapsulating, like I'm so happy that I did that for me.
Like a bit of both, but for me it was more like, oh, I want to do that.
Okay, yeah.
Like I would walk out and like want to like do what the main character did, and then it would like fade a bit. And maybe that's just like my personality. I get really passionate, inspired, like really intensely by things randomly. But I don't know, just I love the idea of like stories being able to like move you and inspire you or make you sad or make you happy or remind you about like certain times
it's a
in your
beautiful
life.
thing.
It's so
a beautiful thing.
Beautiful and incredible. And yeah, I guess that's what inspired me to like.
One of the coolest things was over quarantine. I think starting, I don't even know when it happened. What, February last year? Mm-hmm. I just started reading a ton. Like I was living in Santa Monica. Both my roommates moved out with their girls. I was just in my apartment by myself. I ended up reading like 35 books, maybe more than that.
I love that. I love reading.
And so I reread, or I actually never read all the Harry Potters. So like I read all the Harry Potters. And just like a childhood story that teaches you about like love, death, loss, and like certain things, if you work hard at it, you could achieve it. And I was just like, yo, this childhood story is like hitting home.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's so true. And reading is my other like huge love.
I did the little read it and then watch the movie.
Yes.
Type of deal.
That's the kind of like person I am as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm currently reading Shadow and Bone so that I can then watch the show on Netflix. Okay. I always love reading the book first. Yeah, I love reading.
One thing that's hard to read, my buddy just started reading the Game of Thrones series, compared it to that. That one's deep because like the books are very long.
I know. I haven't read those yet. I started reading the first one and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to cut out some time for this.
Oh, for sure. But reading and watching movies takes a lot of time. Like,
yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It does. But you know, like it really is true. Like as an actor, like watching TV shows and movies is like it's like studying.
Yeah,
like it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
There was something I like read recently. I think it was Reese Witherspoon that made the comment. I think someone told her like, if you want to be a good actor, like you know, like watch TV, watch shows, like study them, study the actors.
Sure.
And for me, it's so helpful because I'm such a visual person. Like in everything in my life, I'm so visual, and so just like watching and studying, it's great. It's great.
No, for sure. What did I guess COVID do to like the acting world, the entertainment world, in terms of like getting roles and stuff. Can you like explain like just the shift of like staying home all the time and like self tapes?
Yeah, it's, that's like one of the huge things that came out of it, is that all the auditions are self tapes now.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do you enjoy it?
For me, it's like a bit of both. It's a good thing in terms of, you have no excuse to like say no to an audition necessarily, because you like can't go. Yeah, you can just do it at home. Yeah. But on the other side of that, for me, I love notes from the casting director, the director, whoever it is that's watching, like, because there's like a million different ways you can do a scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like the most indecisive person on this earth.
So for the casting director and producers and stuff, so if you try out in person, will they tell you like on the spot, hey, dude, this way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll like give you notes. So like that's what I miss about being in person. Okay. You'll come in, do the scene the way you prepared it, and then they might be like, yeah, that's great. Like, can you try this? Can you do it this way? Can you do a little more of this? And I love that.
Yeah.
And so that's what you don't get with the self tapes, which is a bit of a bummer. And, the casting directors are receiving so many auditions, like,
now,
who knows that if they're even watching them all.
Is it even more so now? Like, is it easier for you, from what I heard, like, you could try out for way more things now, because you could just do it at home, send it in, versus like going and like trying it out?
I think so, yeah, because, I guess if you think about it, there's only so many hours a day for a casting office to schedule actors to come in physically. Yeah. But with self-tapes, it's like they can send out as many submission requests as they want. So maybe this was my first, like, this pilot season was really like my first pilot season that I felt like I fully got to participate. Like, tons of auditions coming through. My manager's so amazing. I love her so much. And she worked so hard and got me so many auditions. And like, I swear, like, every single one that came through was like, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be like a dream role. It was like all the things that I was like, this is perfect. They all like had to do with like me, which is just a nod to her, like knowing me. Like, they were all like roles that were like girl from Texas, like Southern girl, or like, I don't know, like action
Can you do a Southern accent?
Oh my gosh.
Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
I used to get like made fun of for my like Southern accent. My mom.
You don't have one.
I don't really, and I've like lost it through the years. I think just like living in so many different places and also being in theater. But like, if I really just like don't think about it and just.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
It was funny because I like lived in Texas for a lot of quarantine, and I kind of like my Texas accent came out because. Yeah. My mom, she like hates it, but she has like a pretty heavy Texas accent. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I love a good old Texas accent. But I have like lost it a bit living in like LA, Chicago, New York, traveling, being in theater. I've just like lost it a bit.
You live in Chicago?
I did for a brief time right after college. So
you just kind of been all over since after college. You've been like in a different city every couple of years or so?
Yeah. This is like living in LA is like the first time I've been able to actually like kind of settle down.
Yeah. So you think you're gonna be out here for a little bit?
I think so. Yeah. Like, just because of what I want to do with the industry.
Yeah. In terms of stunt work and stuff, like, you just started learning like archery, right?
I did. Yeah.
And I've been shooting a bow since I was like probably like 10, 11 in Scouts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, it's super cool. What do you like it?
I loved it. Oh my gosh. That was the first like lesson that I'd had.
Yeah, you were really good too.
Thank you. Yeah. It was so much fun. I trained with Chris Young, and he was just such a great teacher, which was like why I was able to pick it up and everything.
Super quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you eventually want to do like some archery work like in shows and stuff?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to try like
everything.
Like, but I really love weapons.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of like found that and discovered that in my journey with
you're pretty good with bow stuff. For
Thanks.
Sure.
I still feel like I'm such like a beginner level, and I have so much to learn.
If you ever want to train, like
I would love to.
I'd love to train with you. So I'm about to build buy some mats for just practice in the garage and like do some jiu-jitsu stuff. I know you. Do you have any experience in jiu-jitsu?
No, not specifically.
Okay, well, like, I've only done it for like a year and a half, 2 years before like COVID shut down. And like, I'm still learning everything. If you want to like, cause I'm going to just do like drills, like basics.
I would love
like,
that.
if you want to come over, we'll do like basic stuff, just like triangle, like arm bar, stuff like that. Cause it'll definitely help you for like
absolutely
that stuff. But if you're down, I definitely need a practice buddy at the house.
Definitely so.
Okay,
I've been like wanting to find a place that I can go and like train. It's a little harder to like find.
It's hard with
right
like
now.
COVID too.
Yeah. And I'm very like particular with like where I like to train. Like, I don't like being watched.
So you're still shy a little bit. You're still shy.
I am, and
Yeah.
I think part of that is just me being like a perfectionist. Like,
Also,
I don't want people to like see me like
fuck
getting
up.
through my process.
Yeah, because the process is super hard. Like me and Kev talked about it. Like, so I just did a backflip like by myself, like
Nice.
probably like 2-3 months ago, like just standing backflip but the amount of times like I fucked up in the backyard is just super embarrassing. And like you fall on your face, you fall on your side, like you're just like looking like an absolute fool.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people like see the cool things people do, right? Like I don't know, your bow staff, or like what are the like little swords called that you did? Did you?
The little swords. Or you mean just like the one sword I practice with?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. So what's that called?
It's just like a practice sword I have. I'm not sure like specifically.
Is there a specific? Okay, well, whatever. It looked dope, but people don't see like the initial going into
Right.
that. You know, they're just like, oh, she was just good at it. No, like it takes like a lot of
Yeah.
time to get at things, and
Yeah.
to suck at like any craft. Like you don't want people to see you go through that.
Yeah,
Like,
and like it's
Yeah.
fine. Like it's
It happens. Everyone's gonna go through it. It's
everyone
normal.
goes through it.
It's
It's
normal
completely
through.
normal. I
Yeah.
just like I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm just like kind of private in the sense of like even whenever I practice like my bow staff, like I have like a park I go to that like no one's ever at instead of going to the park that's like right here.
Yeah.
It's like so busy all the time, which I totally could. I don't know. I'm just like
You just
like
go
I'd be
practice
fine
yourself.
training like one-on-one with someone.
Oh, sure.
But like I don't know. And like trying to find mirrors. That's the other hard thing. I'm such like a mirrors person growing up in dance.
I feel like you have to if you want to like see yourself, like or video. Like
Yeah,
you could just
video's
like
the other thing.
record and then that looks weird. Like do that. Like that's the biggest thing with like working out too. Like
Yeah.
like one, you don't want to suck at working out. Like, but you're going to. Like someone's not going to be able to do like a proper clean and press like right from the go.
Yeah.
You know, and to like talk someone through that or go through it yourself, it's super demoralizing in the beginning. But if you could like go through that process, those first like 2, 3, 4 months, or if you're really athletic and stuff, 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's the coolest feeling to be bad at something and get really good at it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's like back to my like obsessive nature of like getting something right. Like I feel like I like try and like fast track it. Like I don't know if you saw recently like the smaller staff that I was using, and I was like I was trying to learn how to do this like throw it out like this, then you like catch it again.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to learn it. I probably practiced like 6 hours straight.
Did you really?
Like not.
No
I shouldn't
way.
Do that. I shouldn't do that.
Why
My hand
shouldn't you
was,
do
like,
that?
swollen
Why
with
shouldn't
it.
you do that?
I mean, not necessarily shouldn't. Like it's not like a bad thing. It's
Yeah.
just like I easily could have just like done a few hours and then the next day done a few hours. But
Yeah.
like my mind is just like I'm like no, like I want to get it because I pick up on things quickly, like I always have in life, and so if I like can't pick up on something really fast, I'm like,
Frustrates
oh, I
you.
gotta get it.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, that's just like that. Some things just like take longer to like pick up. Like it's
for
normal,
sure.
but
It's normal. It's
I'm just
human.
like, just like so like, which is good. It's good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, like.
What are
it's
the
good
most
and bad.
exciting things that you're doing right now that you want to get better at?
Probably like staff stuff for sure,
Uh-huh.
which like I love, and I also want to like I really want to get a lightsaber because I want to like
heck
I
yeah.
want to do lightsaber work because
There's some legit. Do you get a discount for like lightsabers and stuff at Disneyland? Because there's some cool ones that you can build
they
and
have
stuff.
really cool ones. I don't know if I do. I get a discount for like normal stuff.
Uh-huh.
I would assume it applies to the lightsabers, but I haven't looked into it. But there's like a few websites that I've looked at that have them. Like I
Yeah.
follow this girl, this woman, Michelle C. Smith. That's where I like learn a lot of the like staff stuff
Okay.
and like she's incredible, like stunt action woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she has like all these really, really helpful like training videos to teach you how. And so she has some lightsabers, and I like found some websites and stuff. But yeah, like I would love to learn more about that, like shoot content doing that, just because I
Yeah.
think it's so cool and it's so fun.
No, for sure.
And I would love to keep like continuing training archery. I just haven't been able to get back out there. But knives also, like I love knife work.
Like hand knives. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hand knives. I have like 2 like practice ones that I got from like Amazon that I use that are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like the main things as far as like weapons go.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to do, like in terms of that field, that you haven't done yet?
I don't really think so, actually.
Yeah.
I think I've like touched on all the things that I want to live in the stunt world.
So
Like,
basically, like right now, you're just like, these are things that I want to do. I've done a little bit. I want to get better at it.
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Like I always like, whenever I'm pitching myself to like a coordinator or someone, you know, I say I do the basics, do your fight choreography, falls to the ground, weapon work, wire work, stuff like that.
Learning how to fall is so important.
It is. Yeah. It's so important. And whenever people like ask me like, what are the things that like you recommend starting with as far as like learning stunts go, with my like small knowledge, beginner knowledge, I'm like, well, for me, the most helpful was like learning proper form and fight choreography and practicing like picking up on choreo quickly, you know, and like learning how to fall safely. Because it's so interesting. Like so many of the stunts in the industry are like so basic. Like,
so basic.
It's like, especially like most of the ones that I've gotten, so basic. Like,
but if you do them with good form, it looks very good.
Oh, absolutely. And you have to do it that way, you know, so you don't hurt yourself, especially as a woman. Like most of the time you're like running and falling in heels. Yeah. Like when I worked on 911 Lone Star recently, and one of the episodes I did, it was like a wedding scene. The tent comes like crashing down, and they had a ton of background extras that ran out of the tent first. But then they had like a small stunt team of us that were like the very last ones to run out because they rigged the tent to actually like collapse and fall. So it was very dangerous. Like if you didn't make it out in time, like you needed to know where to go in the tent to like be safe.
Oh shit.
Because like these massive pillars are like falling down. It was crazy. It was so cool. But yeah, it was like, oh, it's quite the rush. But we were like in dresses, like wedding, you know, guest attire and like heels and stuff. And like just having to like fall and like run. And it's, as a woman, a lot of times you can't like pad up because you might be wearing just like a skimpy dress or a bikini or like a tank top or something. So you can't pad up as much. So like, you have to learn how to like,
it's crazy that
safely.
It's like, I don't think about that when I watch a crazy scene like that, you know? And like, all those background people are acting too. Like, it's hard to like fathom like that. Everyone's like has their own role in the background.
It's so interesting, and it's like even like the other episode I did for 911 Lone Star was I was just a passenger in a car. It was like this. It was like kind of like a car racing scene. Yeah, and you're kind of going fast, like zooming in and out, and then one of the car eventually crashes, and then we go on ahead, but. Yeah, like that was a stunt contract, but I was just like sitting in the back, like as a passenger. But it's like it could have been dangerous because you just have to have the body awareness. Like if you didn't, you could like.
And I'm sure there's plenty of like accidents that like people get severely injured in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, stunt coordinators are like so great and they're so knowledgeable, and so I haven't been in any situations, luckily, where anything's like gone wrong or anything. But
have you felt like you were like scared or dangerous in any situation, like at all? Not one. Not scared or dangerous necessarily. It's always, for me, it's just like, it's like a thrill. It's like a rush of adrenaline. Oh, for sure.
But actually it was funny on 911 Lone Star, that episode I did with the car, they were like old cars. I don't know exactly what they were, but they were old. Yeah. And like, it was really cold that night. We were shooting down near Long Beach. Yeah. And we like didn't have the heat on in our car, but apparently you're supposed to, it's like better to have the heat on because it doesn't make your car overheat. Yeah. Car things that I don't know. Sure. And anyways, we're like sitting in the car, like waiting to shoot again, like do the scene. And all of a sudden like the hood starts like smoking, and we're like, guys, I think we should like turn the car off. Like, I don't know. It was like just us, like normal. The three of us like stunt people in this car back here. And then all of a sudden there was this big like boom, and like something under the hood like exploded, and we're like, oh my gosh, and we like quickly got out of the car. I was like running out, and I like fully expected to see like boom, like behind me, like slow-mo like you see in movies, but it did. But like that was like that was like kind of scary because I was like, I don't know what's happening. No, that's definitely scary. What are you talking about? But it's just, you know, and that it's like things like that, like things that can happen that are unexpected, that, you know, like it's your job as a stunt person to like know that you are doing something that could be dangerous, and know and be prepared to react to any situation. Yeah, any situation. Like obviously the car did not explode in the scene or anything like that, but like, you know, it's just like stuff like that it's like, well, we hired you to like be in the line of fire, do something dangerous, you might get hurt, like, you know, but people know what they're doing, so you know, generally they don't, but accidents you never know. You never know. I
want to talk about fitness real quick. So Cara, fuck, I did the same thing. I think that was the second time. Cara trains at F45 with me, and you go ham. You're one of the hardest workers in the room for sure. And have you always been into fitness?
Yeah. I mean, I've always like worked out and trained growing up and everything.
Like
and,
even in high school, elementary school,
yeah,
stuff
even
like
in
that.
even in high school, like elementary is whenever I started doing dance and stuff. So
Yeah.
I never really like worked out when I was competing in dance because it was
Sure.
like a workout
A workout
in
in
itself.
itself.
Yeah, we had practice every single day. And then when I stopped competing in high school, I started working out, going to the gym and stuff. And then in college with the Palm Squad, we had training sessions because we were part of the athletic program. So we would get to train where like the football team trained and
Oh, that's
stuff.
awesome.
And we had trainers that would train us and stuff. So that was really cool. That was when I like really got to like have like a true training experience, almost like a sport team training experience. Yeah, so that's where it really started. But it's always been a part of my life. Like I'm like, it's just part of
you.
it. It's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What has fitness done for you? Like, I don't know if you've had like example for me. Like, I'll go on vacation or something. Like, I was at home for a week, and that was the first time I didn't work out in a week in like probably a few years.
Yeah.
And it didn't fuck with me, but it kind of like messed with me mentally, like stuff like that.
It really
like,
messes with me.
Yeah. So what does like fitness do for you mentally, physically, like spiritually? Like what has it done for you?
So much. Like that's why I love F45 because I can just go to class in the morning, get my workout done, and then like be on with my day. Like,
yeah, and you don't need to think about it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what I like. And what I like to do with fitness is constantly changing. So like during quarantine, I was doing like a lot of hot Pilates videos and like that was a big part of my workout. And then I kind of like in March, I was like, oh, I can't work out in my apartment anymore. I have to like be with people. And that's when I found F45. But like I really feel like my day doesn't start until I do my workout, unless it's a rest day, which I'm still getting better about working.
So what's your
days.
routine for? Are you going to like F45 Monday through Friday and then resting Saturday, Sunday, or like what's the deal?
I just go every day. And then, like, if I feel like my body is starting to, like, need a break.
So you kind of listen to your body.
Off.
Like, if it's like, oh, wow, well, I'm kind of hurting. Let's take a day off.
Because generally, like, honestly, when I take days off, I'm, like, more tired when I come back.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And so I really don't like taking days off.
Yeah.
And I try and just leave days off to, like, when I'm forced into it. Like, I'm busy one day and I, like, can't go.
Yeah.
And that'll be my day off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just like a part of my life. Like it's like non-negotiable, you know.
Yeah.
I went home a few months ago and went to Disney World with my family, and I wasn't able to work out that week because we're like in the parks every day.
Same thing, yeah.
And it was, I mean, we were active. Like you know, you're
walking
so
all
many
day,
steps.
yeah.
It's insane.
Thousands.
Exactly, but it's not the same as like
Pushing
hitting the
yourself
weights
hard,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And it really like takes a toll on me mentally.
Wow.
It's awful.
It's awful. Like you're like, why am I like kind of sad today?
I'm like, why is this happening? And so, but it's so important.
Do you think fitness and stunt work go hand in hand? Like, do you think fitness helps your stunt work and stunt work helps your fitness,
Definitely.
or like what? Yeah.
As far as like stamina goes and just like feeling strong, like it's so important, and that's like another huge thing. I'm like, I have to work out because it's like part of my job. I mean, on the acting side, you know, you want to like feel healthy and look your best and stuff, but then on the stunt side it comes into like, you know, safety and being safe on set and being strong, you know, whenever you're doing these stunts or it's so physical, you know.
Do you think stunt work helps your fitness?
Yeah, I think so. I think absolutely, like they fully go hand in hand, like
in terms of body awareness or what?
Yeah, definitely so. Body awareness and like form. I started taking a class called Belinta Walk.
What's that?
It's like stick fighting to put it in its simplest form.
What's it called? Is it the stick fighting in like the Filipino sticks? What are those called?
I think they're kind of like this long.
This long. Yeah. Fuck.
I forgot what they're called, but yes, I'm like the worst with like knowing.
They're just
like,
wooden sticks with like it looks like burnt little. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I started taking before COVID, and then
if you've been training with those too, I trained a whole semester on those.
Oh really?
I'm relatively decent. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't been able to start the summer session yet, but it's starting up like later in the year. But like even like that, I started doing because it like influences like just like body and hips for like fight choreography and stuff like that. But I can always find bits and pieces that I can apply to like proper form and fitness and like lifting and stuff like that. And just like, I don't know, like knowing like how to hold your body and not like hurt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited that the world is kind of opening up now in terms of the acting stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know it's not even like fully open. Like a lot of casting directors I've seen put out there, like, don't get discouraged if you see your friends working. Like things like aren't fully going, you know. But I mean, they're much more than they were.
Yeah.
But I've done ever since we opened back up. I've just been doing stunt stuff. Which has been great.
What's
And
your
then
regimen for
auditions.
that? So like you work out every day, but in terms of like stunt work, is that like an everyday thing too? Or do you use like, oh, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to train staff work for an hour, or like, how does that work?
It like changes week to week. And I've tried before to like build a schedule for myself, but I'm like, it doesn't like work for me. I don't know. I'm more of like an organic person.
Yeah, it's kind of
as
like when
far
I
as
want to
goes.
do it, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like my schedule, it's always changing so much,
Yeah.
and so it's like I have the things I know I want to work on, and whenever like a day comes that I'm like, okay, I went to my workout class, I had breakfast, I don't have anything now, like great, I'll go to the park and take my staffs, you know.
Okay.
So like for me, it's very organic. I know that probably could be more efficient if I like built a hard schedule, but
Maybe
I've tried it and it,
I don't
it
know.
just doesn't
I don't know
work
if
for
it.
me.
I don't know if it would, because like a lot of people, like if you go for an hour, maybe you might just touch the surface of what you could really be doing in like that 6-hour period that
Yeah.
you did with there. You're like, oh, something clicked after
Exactly.
like hour 4.5,
Exactly.
and like something released, like you found like, oh my god, it finally clicked. I got that move down. You know?
Yeah, and I don't like feeling restricted. It's like
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to like my art and like drawing.
Yeah.
When I realized I couldn't be an art major, it was when I can't do like
Why
time
couldn't
stuff.
you be an art major?
Because they have so many like deadlines. You have to have like this many pieces in by this day, and then this many pieces in this day. And like
Okay.
I don't work well with art on like a time frame like
Yeah.
that, because I'm like, well, I don't know if like the inspiration will come yet. Like I don't know if I'll have it by then. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like more organic than that for me. So that's how when I was like, okay, I can't do that. And the other thing I wanted to be growing up, I thought was a veterinarian. I used to be pre-vet. Switched back to
Did you
theater, but
really?
that's another story. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you like animals?
I love animals so much. I used to work in like a vet clinic growing up, and I loved it so
What's
much.
the craziest job you've had that has nothing to do with acting or stunt work?
Probably spray tanning.
Spray tanning.
Yeah, that's what I did for a while. I started with a company in New York, and I knew they had locations in
Yeah,
LA
people in
too.
New York are not tan, man.
They're not. It's very hard to tan unless you are lucky enough to have like a rooftop pool,
yeah.
or like otherwise Central Park is
yeah.
your only option.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started like spray tanning people out there, and they had
That's
locations here as well, and I transferred when I moved here.
Oh, that's so you started out here doing spray tans.
Yeah, and it was years in the making of knowing, because I was like, I live in New York. Okay, I'm gonna take the spray tanning job. I know they have locations in LA, so eventually when I move to LA,
She planned
I'll just
it out.
transfer.
She planned it out.
So planned out. But in between, I did my ship contract after New
Yeah,
York before I did
okay.
LA. But
How was doing? I guess working on a cruise ship.
oh, it was crazy but incredible. It's
What are the best thing about like working on a cruise ship, and what's the worst thing?
the best thing was like the traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and I got lucky with my ship contract. We visited over 30 countries around the
Yeah.
world, and so
I feel
I had
like
never
that-
been out of the country before.
Wow.
So I was like, this is amazing.
That's awesome. I feel like
Yeah.
you just gotta like travel in places that you wouldn't have traveled before.
Oh, that
Yeah.
I would never have traveled before.
Yeah.
Like Easter Island. Like
What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy.
like the heads, like the I forget the technical name.
Still
It's
not
like
good
in,
names.
Literally the worst. You know, in Night at the Museum.
Yes.
That big head.
Yes, I do.
Those.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Easter Island.
Oh,
But,
it is.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, so many random places, but that was probably the best thing, the traveling.
Yeah.
And then the most difficult thing for me was like having no control over your life,
Yeah.
because ships are run very like militant.
Yeah.
And there are just lots
Kind
of
of
rules.
put your life on pause for a little bit.
You
huh?
do, and that's hard for me because I'm so like go.
Yeah.
Like, what's the next step? What's the next move? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And you can't do that on a ship.
Yeah.
Like everything comes to a halt.
Yeah. And then you're finally settled down in LA now, so you gotta do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess since you're like settled down in LA, you're doing all your stunt work, acting work, the world's starting to open. Like, what are you most excited for in your life right now? Like, what's next step for Cara Koh?
I just like am so excited to be like back on set consistently.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah.
I know it's like so simple, but like
No, it's not.
it's just like that's what I love. Like that's why I'm in this industry. Just like being on set is magical for me.
Yeah.
And I missed it so much, and ever since like reopening back in November was like my first job post COVID.
Sure.
And I was able to like work fairly consistently. Now it's like slowed down a bit. A lot of shows are on hiatus and stuff, and I'm just excited to be back on set. Like work towards like
just creating
the things
and,
I
like,
want to be
doing
at.
the things you want to be good at.
And like the thing that's like
beautiful.
great but also terrifying about this industry is like anything can happen anytime. Like the most recent job I booked like fell in my lap out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Still don't know how I got it, but it turned out being the most incredible experience of my entire career, entire life. And I wish it was out so I could talk about it right now, but I can't. But it's like those kinds of moments are the moments that like fuel me and inspire me. And I know it fell into my life at the perfect time because it was, you know, it's been rough on all of us.
Yeah.
And so like getting to like step into the position that I was in and like it was like a glimpse of like exactly where I want to be in my future was like, oh my gosh, like this is
just
so
give
cool.
you to feel like I'm at the right spot at the right point in my life, and that's just like an affirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and it's hard because a lot of times I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah, like what's going on? Like
who does though?
I know. It's such a weird thing. Yeah, but like that's been
life's
like
crazy.
It is. It's crazy, and like the thing that I've found that's been most like impactful whatever in like the stunt industry and acting too, but like especially I've seen it in stunts is just like putting in the work really does pay off. Yeah. And like it doesn't feel like it in the moment. It's like day to day you're like, well yeah, I did my training, but like now what?
Yeah. Do you know do you know who Matt Fraser is?
Yeah,
He's
why do I know
the CrossFit Games champion.
Okay. Yeah.
Over he started this brand with Nike, HWPO, hard work pays off. And like it's such a like an easy concept, but like a lot of people like they're so like I'm gonna work hard. If it doesn't work out, I'm just like gonna not stop working, you know. But like if you keep working, persisting through, like the competent hierarchy is a thing. Like if you're good at what you do, you will get paid off for what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like period, end of story.
No, it's so true. And like that was always my logic, even as a kid when I realized I did want to do this. I was like, and maybe it was kind of naive, but I think it was like kind of a pure form of that idea. I was like, well, if I just like keep working, like how will it not work out? Yeah. Like
it's like such a bad mentality to have that like, oh, since I was born in this situation, since I have these disabilities, I can't do it. And like just you saying you can't do it makes it's true. You can't do it. Yeah. You know? And
the way you talk to yourself is so important. So important. And I have to work at it every single day, especially these days, you know. Yeah. Like it's so easy to feel like what you're doing is like for nothing. Yeah. But then in those magical moments when something drops in your lap, it's like, oh hey, this is happening because you did all this. So it's like, really? Oh my god!
And then you gotta pat yourself on the back, treat yourself to like a drink or something. You're like, oh, I deserve this.
Yeah, it's so wild. So those are definitely my favorite moments about the industry.
No, that's beautiful. What advice do you have to like, I guess, any aspiring like stunt woman or actress out there that are just like, I want to do that. I want to do what Cara Koh is doing. I want to do what those people are doing. I want to have that feeling. I want to have that accomplishment. Yeah. Like, what's your advice to those people out there?
Partially what I just talked about is like the discipline and consistency of putting the work in, even when it feels like it's for nothing, like it is for something. So like that's one thing. And then the other thing I would say is literally just do it. Like that was one thing
Come on, Nike. It's a Nike.
I know, right? But like actually it's like so true. Like that was one huge thing that my mentor Mike Chat talked about. It's like, well, oh, like that's what you want to do, then like do it, like put it on tape, like do it. Yeah. You know, and it's like and it's so true. And like like maybe it's like not gonna be great the first time you do it. Yeah. But like you will improve and you will learn. And like that was like the biggest turning point of my career here in LA was like instead of just sitting and thinking about doing it, like actually getting up and taking action. Putting action to your words and
was
your
thoughts. Was your first year in LA difficult?
Absolutely.
I hated my first year in LA.
It was so hard.
And I feel like if you can make it past 2 years, like, because a lot of people move in LA, they're out in a year.
And completely understandable.
Totally
like,
understandable.
Absolutely. My first year that I was here, I worked so hard, burnt myself out for 6 months straight trying to like find representation.
Yeah.
Just like literally every day reaching out to agencies, managers, emails, making phone calls, and like feeling like crap. Like like
a lot of tears.
Absolutely. I'm such a crier. Like 6 months straight, that was me. And I like burnt out and I was just like so defeated. And that's when I went and actually auditioned for Disney and then started working at Disneyland, and that was really uplifting.
Better than spray tans?
Better than spray tans. I still was spray tanning every now and then, but not as much. But
I'm not talking shit on spray tans.
Oh, absolutely not. No, and actually it was a very interesting job. Like I learned a lot of skills actually, learning like how to make conversation with people in uncomfortable situations.
Oh, for sure. They're butt naked.
They're butt naked and they're uncomfortable. To me, it's no big deal. I've seen like
how many dudes get a spray tan out here?
A lot of guys do.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
Damn, those fake asses. I'm kidding.
But it was definitely mostly women. We had guys, but like learning how to make conversation, make the other person feel comfortable in this like very uncomfortable situation for them, understandably. And then like I would like meet really cool people because we would just like get to talking about what they do, and like sometimes they were in my industry or they're in like other stuff, and it was just like cool getting to like meet people and talk to people. And looking back, like that was so beneficial. And in the moment, it felt like stupid. I was just like, I'm just here spray tanning every day. It means nothing. I'm just trying to make a paycheck, whatever. But then looking back, I'm like, wow, like I learned some cool stuff. I met a lot of cool people. There's just, you really can learn from like every situation.
Every single job, every single situation, like, I don't think where I'd be like where I'm at in the sense like I did construction growing up. My first job was like being a dishwasher. Like I used to do tile for my parents in houses. Like I used to paint, like, like all those little things like just added up to like who I am today.
Everything.
Like,
every job I've done, everything I've been involved in my whole life, honestly, has been like performing under pressure. Yeah. Like really, truly. And
where do you think you got that? Like, I don't know, is it work ethic or obsessivity? I don't know if that's a word. Obsessivity. Yeah. Like from like, because like there's a lot of people who, I get down on themselves easily who like, oh, they try something, they're like, oh, it didn't work out, like I'm not gonna do it anymore, or like where do you think you got it from? Like, do you think it was your parents, or like do you think it was from how you were raised? Do you think it was from sports? Do you think it was from working out?
A bit of both. Like I think part of it is just like part of my personality is being like really like obsessed, driven. When I get my mind set on something, I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. But then the other part of that was my parents always being so supportive. If I felt down because I couldn't pick something up quickly or I failed at something, so supportive, picking me back up, get up, try it again. Like, that was also like a huge thing in my upbringing. But I think like back to the like performing under pressure kind of thing, like everything, like looking back in life that I was involved in, like I had to work for and compete for. So like competitive dance, and then in theater, auditioning, and then in college for the Pom Squad, it was really interesting. UT was unique in the fact that we tried out for every game. So like there were some girls in the Pom Squad that never cheered one football game.
Oh wow.
And so like we retried out every single week for every single game, and you're competing against your team of like 24 other girls that you like made the team with. And so even that was like, practicing performing under pressure and like every single week. So it's just like was inherently like a part of my life through everything. And I didn't even like realize it. It was just like, I was just like, well, yeah, like this is just like what it is, you know?
So to the people out there who haven't been on like a competitive team or like whatever, and they still have like an aspiration of being like an actor, actress, but they failed like plenty of times, like, would you recommend them like, hey, like I know you feel this way, but like you should join something that you could like join a team or like a gym or like whatever, to the point where like you could get that competitive nature so you could like do that, be competitive against yourself, or like I think so. And I think it's like it's a mixture of things, right? Like I've always said with my life, if like acting is what I want to do, but like if at any point I feel like I'm not happy doing it anymore, like I will do something else, and so I think it's just that, like we're all like, you can expect failure, you can expect struggles, but like if it still brings you joy, like if the end goal brings you joy, like you just have to keep working.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the end goal is that you're like, dude, this is not worth it,
Yeah.
then like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Find something else that you're passionate about. You know what I mean? But if ultimately you're like, but this is like what I love, this is what I do,
Yeah.
then it's like, then you're doing it right. Like, just keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna fail. Like, you will
Yeah.
fail.
So
You will
do
fall.
the things you love and get better at them.
Yeah, like that's how I live. Like, what else? You know?
I love that. I think we'll end it right there. Miss Cara, thank you, Miss. I appreciate you. Everyone, Cara Koh, baby. Peace.
Thank you so much.